Welcome back, mathematicians. For this lesson on word problems, we're going to be talking about consecutive integer word problems. Problems like find three consecutive integers whose sum is 57. And we're going to be able to write an algebraic equation to come up with those integers. So what you'll need for this lesson is just a pencil. I'm going to use a black pen, a blue, and a red. All right, when you think about integers and think about a number line, so we have this basic number line here, it goes from -3 to 4, and we just count by ones, right? Consecutive integers. 1, 2, 3, 4, those are all consecutive integers. One is right after the other in value. So if this was, for instance, let's call this consecutive integers, just generic. Right? Then I could label this as n, right? And pretending it's anywhere on this spot, I know the next consecutive integer is, I'm just going to be adding 1 to it, right? Every time you just add 1. So then this would be n plus 1, right? This one would be n plus 1 plus 1, or n plus 2, okay? So for every jump, I'm adding a number, okay? So I'm starting with n as my original, and then for every jump, I would add a number, or I'd add 2 numbers, like 2 places, okay? Now, for consecutive integers, that's when I use n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, because pretend n was 4, for example. There'd be 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7, right? So I'm always looking back at this one and I'm adding numbers to it. Another type of consecutive integer problem you're going to see is consecutive odd or consecutive even integers. Consecutive odd / even integers. And for this type of problem, it's when you're given a number n, okay, and you're not using the next number, you're using the next even number. So pretend n was 2 if they're talking even. Pretend n was 3 if they're talking odds. If it was 3, and we labeled n as 3, the next consecutive odd number would be not 4, but 5. So what did I have to do to get there? I took 2 jumps, right? Because if this is 3, 4 is not an odd number, but 5 is. So this represents n plus 2. Right? Because I'm not including this number. 6, not including 7. Okay, so that would be n plus 4, or n plus 6. So when I have to skip, when they're asking me to do odd or even, when I'm skipping, then I'm adding 2 each time. And that's the difference with consecutive integer word problems. All right, for my first example, I'm asked to find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 57. So my consecutive integers, there's 3 of them, is going to be n, and n plus 1, and n plus 2, right? 1, 2, 3 consecutive integers. Now I don't know where it starts, but I know their sum is 57. So when I add n plus n plus 1 plus n plus 2, right? My first, second, third, okay? Their sum is 57. And now I can go through and I can combine like terms. So I've got 3n, 1 plus 2 is 3, so 3n plus 3 equals 57. Subtract 3 from both sides. 3n equals 54. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and you get n equals 54 divided by 3 is going to be 18. And when it asks me to find the 3 consecutive numbers, I'm not just going to say 18 because that's just one number, right? What I'm going to say is it's 18, 19, and 20. For my second example, find 3 consecutive odd integers, right? So now I know they're odd integers whose sum is 45. So I know my numbers are going to be n, and I'm going to be adding the next odd integer would be n plus 2, and the next odd integer would be n plus 4, right? That's first, second, third, and their sum is 45. Combine like terms, I've got 3n plus 6 equals 45. Subtract 6 from both sides. You have 3n equals 39. Divide by 3, and n equals 13. So that means that my 3 consecutive odd integers are going to be 13, right? 13 plus 2, so 15. 13 plus 4, and 17. Now here's a bit of a tricky one. Find 4 consecutive even integers whose average is 25. So I know when I have consecutive even integers, I'm going to be using these numbers here, right? And I know when I take the average, I'm taking the sum of those numbers and dividing by the amount of numbers I have, which is going to be 4, because I'm given 4 numbers. So let's see how that looks. I've got n plus 2. That's my first, my second, my third, and my fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And their average is 25. And now I'm gonna combine like terms, and I'm gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4n, so 4n, 1, 2, so 2 plus 4 plus 6, it's gonna be 12, so 4n plus 12, all divided by 4 equals 25. Just kind of running out of space here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 so that those cancel. And bring this around. So now I have 4n plus 12 equals 100. Subtract 12 from both sides. And we've got 4n equals 88. Divide both sides by 4. Those cancel. I get n equals 22. So that means my 4 consecutive even integers would be 22, 24, 26, 28. And you can see that 25, which would be the average, would be right in between there. Okay, sorry if that was a lot to look at. Feel free to ask me for my book if this was too much on one page. Next up is you're going to do a worksheet that's based on consecutive integer problems. And you'll be ready to move on to the final lesson, which is on literal equations.